Okay, and just for anyone who is listening who may not have heard of this place, as we said, it's been kind of a secret to North Americans. Can you just describe where it is? I have to admit my mental geography of the DR is not the best. So where is Las Terrenas?
Las Serranas is on the northeastern coast. It's in the Samana province. So it's like a little bit downward from Cabarete and northern than Punta Cana, like a middle point.
Okay. What about the infrastructure in town? So things like you said the highway was nice, the one coming from Santo Domingo to Las Terrenas. What about the roads in town? What about electricity and that type of thing?
So in Las Serranas, the roads are pretty narrow. I from what I saw, they were in good condition, but it's a thing there that people ride around in scooters, motorbikes, or ATVs because the streets are so narrow. I while I was touring properties, the agent had a car, a pretty big car, and we got stuck in a street trying to maneuver how to cross with the other cars going the other way. We were pretty much like on top of a sidewalk trying to like maneuver. So that can be tricky, but if you prefer to use another method of transport that's not a car, I think it is smoother. The roads are really fine. Um, so this agent also told me that not long ago they got their first traffic lights, so they now have like a couple in a couple of intersections. But before that, like last year, there were none. So everyone was just how they wanted.
Going with the
um,
flow.
yeah, going with the flow. So it was more chaotic. So it's definitely a sign that it's developing and becoming more modernized. So in La Serena, actually, there wasn't even electricity until the 90s. So back then, and expats were settling here before that. So it was more of an off grid destination for sure. But we're way past it. There's good internet providers. There's several options that you can choose from for not only internet but cable, mobile data providers. So it's a good town to be a digital nomad, for example. Um, it's not uncommon to have power outages in DDR in general, but there's the option of getting gas powered generators for these occasions, which a lot of people tend to get.
Okay, so the power goes out and then you just switch on your extra generator too until it comes back on, or how does that work exactly?
Yes, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really common in the DR, so people are now more prepared for those type of situations.
Would you get a car if you lived there, or would you use some other type of transportation?
I would get a car if you're someone who is willing to who wants to travel the country because it's a really small country. You could get to so many other cities in no time, and it's a beautiful country. So it's a lot more comfortable if you're going to be traveling around to have your own car. But if you're someone who's just going to be traveling sparingly, maybe going back home to visit family, maybe twice a year, um, and you're mostly going to stay in Las Serranas, I don't think it's necessary. I think you'll be most comfortable if you do need, if you are not living maybe right in the center of town, but a little bit outside, and it might take you like 20 minutes to walk to the center and you want something faster. If you are willing to do the motorbike or scooter or ATV situation, that's definitely better, for sure. But it's pretty walkable right now if you don't mind going on walks.
What about the cost of living? So, how did you find um, the expenses for just the things that you might have spent money on while you were there, like meals and maybe drinks and entertainment, things like that? how did you find it compared to Panama City, let's say? Expensive or reasonable or cheap?
I would say that it's a little over the reasonable when you go eat out in a restaurant that is clearly international. It's not a local restaurant. I think meals were a little bit pricier than I would find here. Like a meal with a drink would be at least 15 US dollars, but probably 20 to 25. And for pretty, not anything fancy or really out there. So I did find that eating out, maybe it's a little bit pricey there. Drinks, I think they are like the same. Like you can find drinks from like $4 to 10 or more. It depends on what you're ordering, but it's the food mostly. In general, if someone would be living there and maybe going out to eat, maybe just twice a week, but then with the groceries and their usual bills, I think that you could live there with at least 1,300 a month. Um, but and from then on, you could just live a more luxurious life. But you would need at least 1,300, I would feel.
Okay, so that's like a good baseline number, and then you can go up from there and
Hmm.
get more and more and more comfortable and luxury if you want to.
Exactly. I wouldn't say it's a budget destination, um, but it's definitely cheaper. That you could live cheaper than what you could get in North America for something similar.
Right. And let's not forget, compared to a lot of Caribbean islands, like the really luxury ones, that no normal person can really access or live there because they're insanely expensive. $1,300 a month is a really good deal compared to say like uh, St. Bart's or one of those places that is just insane, insane
Exactly.
in terms of prices.
And you'll get the same beautiful beaches and experience.
Exactly. Let's talk a bit more about the housing situation, the property market in the DR specifically, since that is your main beat. So, what did you think about the property market in general? Is what would be your general overview of it? Is it booming? Is it kind of stagnating? Is it relaxed? What's going on with it?
I got the impression that it's booming. One of the agents I met with had basically no inventory to show me. They had pre-sales and those were sold out. The other one did take me to see a couple of properties, and but he also had projects in pre-sale that they were just sold out already. Construction hasn't even started, and they're just selling super fast. Um, and you can find properties in all price ranges. So I went to see one in a gated community. It was a condo building. They were really big apartments, like about 145 square meters. You had a view. It was in a hilly area, more inland, but you have the view of the sea, and then you have the view of the jungle and all the landscape of Las Serranas. Um, and that could go for about 600,000, but also so other condominiums that were in the 200,000 range. um, and I think you can find very luxurious properties in gated communities, and you can find also a little bit more affordable properties. But again, from what I could tell, it's not necessarily budget. Maybe under 200K, maybe it wouldn't meet your standards. I got the impression that a lot of the people who move to Las Terranas want something a little bit larger because they're expecting visitors, family, friends. They want something not just a one bedroom, at least two bedrooms, and that's spacious enough uh, to host other people.
Okay. So it sounds like you saw quite a wide variety of property types as well when you were there.
Yes. Also, very common are the villas. If you don't want to live in an apartment, um, there are smaller villas, maybe farther inland. The more expensive ones are gonna be the ones like right next to the beach. There's never gonna be. So what I've noticed is that there are no houses that are right there, like on the sand. There's the street, and then there's the beach. And I believe that you cannot build on the side of the beach. So you'll have the view of the beach, that would be beachfront, but it's not like the beach, the sand is your backyard, for example. And there are a range of sizes and prices in villas as well. They are not necessarily more expensive than condos, but it depends on the amenities and location for sure.
Um, what idea did you get? You mentioned a little bit, but for the prices, can you give us an idea of price per square meter, and also average rent if people are looking not to buy but just to live there?
So an average price per square meter would be around 2,000 and go up from there. And for land, about $450 per square meter of land. So there's options to buy land for you to buy, for you to build yourself as well. But in more urbanized areas, this is not a problem, but you should make sure to do the due diligence if you're buying a piece of land. A lot of them have not gone through the proper titling processes, and you don't want to be buying something that maybe the person who's selling it to you, it's not even the owner. So you want to be a little bit more careful if you're buying land. If you're buying from a residential community, you really won't have issues with that, for example.
Okay, that's good to know.
Oh, and for
Um,
rent, about it could start from about 700 for something that would be adequate. Um, Maybe for villas a little bit more.
right. Still sounds really affordable, all things considered. Again, comparing it to other Caribbean islands, it's such an accessible option for people. So it's really great to hear to get an idea of the prices. Okay, and then final question on just property stuff. Is financing available for foreigners? Do you know if there are any options for that?
Yes, it is available. Both residents and non-residents can get mortgages. Um, the lawyer that I met with there told me that a lot of it depends on the relationship with your bank and your bank representative. But because the DR is so pro foreign investment, most of the time are no issues with getting a mortgage here.
Great.